Welcome back to the Russell Show. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend a few moments with me. Today, we need to talk about what's going on in the world. It has been a hard 24 hours for this country. Um, First, before we even dig into it, everyone knows what's going on in Minneapolis, and we must acknowledge the life of Renee Nicole Good. She was a wife, she was a mother, just moved to Minneapolis, so I'm not sure what she was like in the community, excuse me, but I'm sure she was a good, decent human being, and so we must start there. Rest in peace, Renee Nicole Good. Again, thank you for taking a few moments out of your day. We're gonna dig into some videos and then we'll get into some commentary so that to see if we can make sense out of what is going on. All right, the first clip that we're going to get into is by Officer Brandon Tatum. This is a guy that I actually listen to pretty regularly. I agree with half of his commentary. The other half of the commentary I could absolutely do without. But I think it's important to listen to him because he is an ex law enforcement member. And quite frankly, I think he's really cold about it. And so let's take a look what those who I would consider on the extreme right have to say.
Let's play the clip where we show him actually get hit. It's a closer angle, and you'll see the car actually hit him. I wish I had a cursor because I could show you right behind that Suburban is going to be the suspect vehicle, and you're going to literally see him get hit in the front of this car. Roll the clip. Slow mo. Watch him. Boom, the car hits him. Let's play it again for the people in the back. Pay attention. Slow mo it. Look, right out the front of the car. Boom! The car hit him. Night. Now, was that worth your life? I want y'all to put this in perspective as we continue in this investigation because we got more clips to show you. Because the mayor said something stupider than the shooting. Like what he said is stupider than what happened in the dummy in the shooting. But is this worth your life? Now, let's do an evaluation real quick. What were you accomplishing? ICE agents are there to arrest people who have an arrest warrant. Many of these people are committing murders and violent crimes in your community, you dummy. That's the reason they have a warrant for their arrest. And a judge has ordered the arrest and deportation of many of these people. This is what they do. And you decide to be an activist because you've been watching CNN or you've been listening to these weenies on television tell you that it's are letting you get off the hook for committing acts of violence against ICE agents. And now you're dead. That's what you get. Unfortunate for your family if you got one, but that's what you get. Now you dead. What did you accomplish?
We got to stop it right there. We got to stop it right there. So this is what I would consider on the extreme right. Obviously, he is ex-law enforcement, and he is a person who stands with all things conservative. And this woman, excuse me, obviously was liberal, and she was out there. It appears that she was out there protesting and trying to stop the police from proceeding, ICE specifically, excuse me, from proceeding in their daily activities. And unfortunately, she bumped into one of the officers. He said that he felt threatened. I can't say whether his life was in danger or not. That's only up for him to say. But nonetheless, he sent her to heaven. And for me, what a horrible thing for a loss of life to have occurred. But now that that's done, the commentary that we are hearing is deplorable. You can't talk about a human life as if she wasn't a mother. You can't talk about a human life as if she wasn't a wife, as if she didn't have family members, cousins, aunts, uncles, nieces, nephews. These people loved Renee Nicole Good, and we can't talk about her that way. We can absolutely dissect the video and say what occurred and was it justified in the shooting. Me personally, what I saw, that officer should have gotten out of the way. Absolutely should have gotten out of the way. And Renee Nicole Good, God rest her soul, should not have driven forward with that officer in front of her. I am not blaming her for the loss of her life. However, she 100% should not have driven forward with that officer in front of her. You cannot say it any other way. Maybe she was scared. I understand. However, she was in the middle of that situation. It was clear that they were trying to remove her from the vehicle, and she drove off. And she was unfortunately sent to heaven. But was her driving off the way that she did something that was worth her life? Absolutely not. And unfortunately, Officer Brandon Tatum speaks about her as if she is a one-celled amoeba, as if her life did not matter. And this is the problem that we're having in this country. We're so divided that we can't see the other side. Me, I am right smack in the middle. Actually, I'm probably center right, but I used to be right smack in the middle. And now I can absolutely say that I can see both sides and I can talk about both sides and understand both sides. And if you're going to be a person, or we're going to be a country, or we're going to have law enforcement organizations or news organizations that are going to try to dissect what has occurred, we can't do it from a place where we're bringing our own preconceived notions to the table. You have to be able to look at things for what they are, right in the center. Now, this next set of videos that we're going to see is a collage of videos that Fox News put together about the Democrats fanning the flames and coming from an extreme position just from the other side, which would be the left. So let's take a look at these videos and see what the left has to say.
It was an outright murder.
ICE has been carrying out state-sanctioned violence in our communities.
This is a George Floyd moment. This administration has gone too far.
Blood is clearly on the hands of those individuals within the administration who've been pushing an extreme policy that has nothing to do with immigration enforcement.
And I'll say it again, is bull. That is bull. The way they've been conducting themselves is also bull.
Very, very difficult for Minnesotans to think in any way this is going to be fair when Kristi Noem was judge, jury, and basically executioner yesterday.
Because there are going to be protests around this entire country because of the state-sanctioned execution.
Jesse, say.
So, some of that I was able to jive with, but man, this language is extreme. Like, where is an objective point of view, right? Where can you set aside your own personal beliefs and look at what really occurred. This was not an execution. I'm sorry. It was not an execution. This was not a state sanctioned murder. I'm sorry. It absolutely wasn't. This was an unfortunate set of events that occurred, and it was regrettable on both sides. So we have Renee Nicole Good. God rest her soul. She was in the car and she was blocking ICE. They wanted to get through and she would not let them through until they approached her vehicle. An officer went up to her driver's side door, and in that moment, apparently she feared for her life. And she put the car in reverse to do what looked to me like a 3-point backup turn type of maneuver. And then when she put the car back in drive, she bumped. The left would say, or excuse me, the right would say that she hit that officer, which she did. A bump is a hit. Let's be clear. And she hit this officer. And when she hit him, he pulled out his gun and he sent her to heaven. Should she have put that car in drive when a police officer was in front of her? Hell no. Should she have put that car in drive when they were trying to remove her from the car? Hell no. Anybody who is of color, and those of us who are older, we tell the young black men, young black boys, that you need to comply when the police are talking to you or trying to get information from you, or when they're trying to arrest you. You need to comply so that you can live another day. This is no different than that to me. This is no different. She should have complied, and unfortunately, she didn't. She was scared for her life. She probably had never been in that situation before. She probably panicked, maybe. But a panic does not give you the right to disobey a law enforcement order. And unfortunately, people don't want to consider ICE law enforcement. They absolutely are law enforcement. 100%. 100%. On the other end of the spectrum, people are talking about the officer and that he just executed her. He did not execute her. He did not execute her. He shot her. He sent her to heaven, and regrettably so. And news came out that this was actually an officer that was executing an ICE warrant. I believe it was a month and a half ago. And as he was trying to remove someone from the car or truck or whatever it was, they drove off with him trying to open the vehicle, and it dragged him, I believe they said 50 feet or 50 yards. But nonetheless, this is a very dangerous job that these officers have, and it needs to be acknowledged that this is a very dangerous job that these officers have. And right smack in the middle is where we're going to find a logical argument, a logical message, so that we can meet in the middle, because I'm tired of the left and the right, left and the right just battling each other. We can't even speak to each other, and it drives me absolutely nuts. And those of us that are in the center, we're the ones that are silenced. The ones that are on the extreme left, they speak out, they yell, they get support, rah, 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 shish kumbah. And those that are on the right, absolutely the same thing. But in the middle is where it counts, because that's where we're all at. We're all, let me say that differently. This is where we all should be at, in the middle, because we all have the same things that we want out of life. The pursuit of happiness. We want to go to work. We want to take care of our families. We want to raise our kids. We want to save for retirement. We want to do all of these things. That right there is a common good. And that's where we need to meet. Not on the left or the right. Not on the, not on the extreme left, not on the extreme right, but right in the middle. And so this last video clip that we have is with Stephen A. Smith, and he's somebody that I really identify with. He's very sensible. He's definitely loud, definitely boisterous. I don't mind it. A lot of people do. But I really appreciate his balanced and measured approach to his commentary on things. So let's take a listen to see what Stephen A. has to say.
It 5 times. In this part, where the president talks about how violently, willfully, and viciously ran over an ICE officer who seems to have shot her in self-defense based on the attached clip, it's hard to believe he's alive. Respectfully, the president's lying his ass off. That's not true. That's not true. Okay? The officer moved out the way and shot her. How's he in the hospital? For what? What am I missing? Somebody help me out. That's not what I saw the 5, now 6 times I'm watching this video. President, that's a lie. The other stuff he said, however, we got to man and woman up and ask ourselves, does the president and the GOP have a point when they talk about the verbiage, the rhetoric that's being spewed on the opposite side of the aisle when it comes to ICE agents and how they're being talked about? And is there any truth to the notion that that serves to exacerbate a situation and incite people to go out there in respective sanctuary cities throughout this country, whether it's LA, it's New York, it's Chicago, it's Minneapolis, etc., Portland, Oregon, whatever? Does it incite people to go out there and engage in lawlessness against ICE agents? We all have to concede the fact that ICE agents are doing their job. When Biden was in office, they didn't bother folks that much because you had open borders. When Obama was in office and over 3,000 people were deported, you're a Democrat, you got to make sense out of the fact that you didn't say anything about it then. I am not defending Trump. I don't like the way he's doing things. And I think in certain respects, he's mirroring what he did during his first administration, which I think will serve to hurt the GOP more than he realizes in the months to come. The midterms. If the Democrats play their cards right and don't engage in histrionics or acts of stupidity to get in the way of the momentum they might be building. I say might because I don't know. But the other side to it that can't be escaped. When did sanctuary cities begin? When did they start? Why did they start? And if it's such an affront to us as American citizens, particularly people on the left and what have you, how come you didn't say anything when Obama deported over 3,000? I'm just asking. Because the right got an argument against you that you're going to have to defend. Are you prepared to answer that question? If you're complaining about Trump and his administration doing it now, how come you didn't complain when Obama did it? And he deported more people than Trump deported in his first term. You got to answer that question. Now, that doesn't mean you look at this incident and you think ICE was right to shoot that woman down. That doesn't mean you don't look at them and say they ain't wrong. They're wrong. It doesn't mean any of that. What it means is that you have to be prepared to make these arguments. And you also have to be prepared to fend off the accusation aimed at the left, that the rhetoric being spewed, particularly in a time when everybody was swearing to dial it back, dial it back, dial it back, because we don't need our country as divisive as it is. Look at the stuff that you're hearing in the streets being spewed at law enforcement officials, whether it's ICE or anybody else. These are the things that come with it. These are the questions.
He said it. He said it all. These are the questions, man. These are the questions. And they're legitimate for both sides. They can ask on the left, did he have to shoot that woman? And the answer is no. The answer is absolutely no. And then they can also, on the other end of the spectrum, on the right, they can ask, did she need to drive forward when that officer was in front of her? Did she need to hit him? Would she, if there was anybody else there, would she have done that? Is that a reasonable thing to do? And the answer is absolutely not. It is totally unreasonable. Now, was she fearing for her life? I don't know. But these are the questions that we have to ask. And Stephen A. took it even deeper, man, because he said that this whole thing is about ICE and immigration and snatching people from their families. And excuse me, when Trump got in office, he said that he was just going to go after the worst of the worst of the worst and the criminals and the bad hombres. And that's not what he's doing. And unfortunately, things are going down the way that they are, unfortunately. And we have to figure out a way to coexist. So what do we have to do? ICE, law enforcement, you're going to have to use better judgment. You're going to have to use better judgment. Unfortunately, you guys have different rules of engagement than what the average American considers okay. You go in like you're in the military, like you're going into Iraq, you know, or Venezuela, like you were coming after Nicolas Maduro. You go in there, guns are blazing. That shit has to stop, man. The shit has to stop. It doesn't make sense. And you're going into these communities and you said that you were going after the worst of the worst of the worst. Then go after them. Go after them. But stop showing up to schools. And I understand people are on deportation orders. I understand that. But you can figure out a way, you're professionals, to do things where you aren't upsetting the natural order of society, which is peace and harmony. Don't go in guns are blazing around every corner. On the other end of the spectrum, my brothers and sisters on the left, if you're going to protest, which is your right, you must do it peacefully. And you must do it in such a way that it does not interfere with law enforcement activities, because these are legal warrants that are being served. And these are legal actions that are being taken, whether you agree with them or not. It doesn't matter if you agree with them or not. So you know what that means? If they're driving down the street, get your ass out of the way. Get out of the street, man. It's not that hard. It's clear that you guys are trying to interrupt what they're doing. And I understand you feel like you have a right to, but you don't. You don't have a right to do that. You have a right to peaceful protest. And that's all that the law protects. The moment that you go in there and you interrupt what they're doing, their rules of engagement are such that they're going to go one step higher than you to get their job done. And you cannot win. You can't win. It's impossible. So what the hell are you people out there doing? And trust me, I was out there when George Floyd went to heaven. I was out there when Breonna Taylor went to heaven. I was downtown Chicago with Trayvon Trayvon Martin. I was down there, but I was protesting peacefully. This shit is out of control, and it has to stop. And it has to stop now, because this country is falling apart. And guess what? The people on the extreme left and the people on the extreme right, they love this shit. They love it. And where do most of us lie? Right in the middle. That's where most of us are. Right in the middle. And we want peace. We want to go to work. We want to take care of our families. We want to save for retirement. We want to go on vacations. We want to go about our daily business without being interrupted by the police or without being robbed, shot, and killed by these criminals that are just going crazy these days. We all want the same thing. So as I close, it's time to meet in the middle. It's time to meet in the middle. Meet where there's common ground. Let's meet where there's common ground. Enough of this extreme, because the extremes are only about an agenda. It's only about an agenda, trying to impose your will on others. There's no will imposition in the middle. It's how do we all get along, and it's how do we live and coexist together. And if we can do that, in spite of our disagreements with the way that the government is going, specifically the Trump administration, we all can come together on the left and the right and find a way to go forward peacefully. Thank you for hanging out with me for a little bit. Like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.